Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Scene McLaughlin reveals the shocking reason Bachelor in Paradise cast voted out Brian and Parisa Shifta. Scene McLaughlin has revealed the shocking reason the majority of the Bachelor in Paradise cast voted out Brian and Parisa Shifta. On Bachelor in Paradise's August 18 episode, the cast had to vote for two couples to be sent home. Scene and Alicia Gupta chose to self-eliminate knowing they were in jeopardy of elimination, but Brian and Parisa got voted out. Brian and Parisa's exit surprised many Bachelor in Paradise viewers, since there were still two couples at the resort in Costa Rica, Lee Kanan and Jonathan Johnson, as well as Kathy Swartz and Keith Gordon, who weren't even romantically involved. When asked why Brian and Parisa were targeted, Scene admitted during a recent appearance on the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, "I think a lot of people, truthfully, I didn't have a problem with Brian, but I think a lot of people didn't like Brian." Scene told the podcast's co-hosts Serena Pitt and Joe Almabal they did not like Brian, and so when it came time, they immediately turned on him no matter what. Scene thought most of the cast was still mad at Brian for telling Bailey Taylor Brown that Jeremy Simon had called Susie Evans on the phone and begged her to return to Paradise when Bailey was on a date with Andrew Spencer. Brian also let Bailey know that Jeremy had said he would propose to Susie on the spot if they reunited on the beach. Camera footage confirmed Jeremy had said that, even though he denied it to Bailey. But he was right to tell Bailey, Scene insisted. Because watching it back, if you find out about it on a TV show, that would be awful. Brian lied to his friends about what he had told Bailey, but after he got caught, he apologized to Jeremy and tried to mend fences. Jeremy was nice to Brian's face, but he told the cameras that it seemed like Brian was just trying to save his ass. Scene accused his co-stars of having a holier-than-thou approach, which resulted in Brian's ouster. They didn't like Brian, and they voted him off. Brian and Parisa were fair game, Scene recalled. The thing is, we were going to get down to a point when everyone was a couple, so how are you going to vote then? Is it automatically that if you were there earlier you're going to stay longer? That didn't make sense to me. There were probably stronger couples that formed later. Scene said the voting process was a little bit confusing, and no one was thinking a couple of steps ahead. Scene, who totally owned his plotting and politicking in Paradise, said he thought Brian's warning to Bailey about Jeremy was both a kind gesture and a game move. At the time, Brian said he cared about Bailey's well-being, but it also seemed like a possibility he was hoping to turn the cast against Jeremy so they would want to vote him out. Andrew previously made remarks that support Scene's claim the cast simply didn't like Brian. Andrew told Nick Viall on The Viall Files earlier this month that people thought Brian treated Parisa poorly and snapped at her too much. Andrew and the guys also thought he betrayed Jeremy by going behind his back and speaking to Bailey without a heads-up or explanation. In addition, Andrew criticized Brian's timing since he had known about the Susie phone call for a while, and he argued that Brian wasn't even friends with Bailey. Brian and Bailey talk on the beach prior to his heart-to-heart with her. Brian later revealed that he and Andrew don't really talk post-show, but he is still close friends and has always thrived on secrets, betrayals, and unexpected twists. But even by Bachelor in Paradise standards, Scene McLaughlin's recent revelation about why Brian and Parisa Shifta were voted out sent shockwaves across Bachelor Nation. Fans had speculated endlessly about the couple's abrupt exit. Some believed it was strategy, others thought it was personal drama. But now, thanks to Scene, the curtain has finally been lifted. And let's just say, the truth is more explosive than anyone could have imagined. The build-up to the vote. Brian and Parisa Shifta entered Bachelor in Paradise with all the makings of a power couple. Both were attractive, charismatic, and quick to forge connections within the cast. Brian, with his charming sense of humor, became the unofficial little brother of the group, while Parisa's sharp wit and confidence made her both admired and intimidating. But as the season unfolded, cracks began to appear. While other couples were building relationships based on mutual trust, Brian and Parisa started to play what many contestants described as a different kind of game. They weren't just here for love, they were here to control the social dynamics of paradise. McLaughlin, who had remained mostly neutral in the early weeks, now admits that he saw the storm brewing before anyone else. Scene's bombshell, the real reason. In a candid conversation that aired during a post-elimination confessional, Scene revealed the shocking truth. It wasn't that Brian and Parisa didn't fit in, it was that they were using everyone. They were building alliances, spreading misinformation, and treating paradise like a chessboard. At some point, the rest of us realized it wasn't about love for them, it was about winning. According to Scene, Brian and Parisa had orchestrated an elaborate strategy behind the scenes. They allegedly attempted to manipulate rose ceremonies by encouraging weaker couples to turn against stronger ones. They whispered doubts into contestants' ears, making them question their partners. And perhaps most damaging of all, they secretly plotted to stay in the competition long enough to secure the coveted finale spots, regardless of whether they left with genuine relationships. The breaking point. The revelation came to a head during the week leading up to their elimination. Scene described a tense moment when multiple cast members realized they had all been told slightly different versions of the truth by Brian and Parisa. One contestant recalled being warned by Parisa that another woman was not serious about her relationship. Meanwhile, Brian had told that same woman's partner that she was planning to jump ship to another man. It was a web of lies that eventually collapsed on itself. Once we compared notes, Scene explained, "We knew we couldn't trust them. They weren't just stirring the pot for fun, they were creating chaos to survive." The group held private conversations, weighing whether it was worth keeping Brian and Parisa around for entertainment value. But in the end, love won out over drama. The contestants voted, and Brian and Parisa were blindsided by their ouster. The shockwaves in paradise. When the results were announced, the shock on Brian and Parisa's faces was unmistakable. They had believed themselves untouchable, insulated by their alliances and social maneuvering. Instead, they walked away as one of the most controversial exits in Bachelor in Paradise history. Fans watching at home were divided. Some argued that the cast had overreacted, that Brian and Parisa were simply playing a strategic game in a show that has always thrived on drama. Others applauded the decision, saying it preserved the integrity of what Bachelor in Paradise is supposed to be, a place to find real love. Scene's role as whistleblower. For Scene, speaking out wasn't easy. Known for his calm demeanor and tendency to avoid drama, he risked putting a target on his back by calling attention to Brian and Parisa's manipulation. But ultimately, he felt a responsibility to the group. "I didn't want to be the guy who stayed quiet and watched everyone else get burned," Scene said. "At the end of the day, we came here to find relationships. If someone was making a mockery of that, we had to act." His words resonated with the cast, many of whom admitted they had felt uneasy about Brian and Parisa for weeks, but hadn't been able to articulate why. Scene became the voice of reason, uniting the group against what they saw as a toxic force in paradise. Aftermath and from Scene's revelation continues to ripple across Bachelor Nation. Social media lit up as soon as the episode aired, with hashtags like Paradise Betrayal and Scene Said It trending within hours. Some fans applauded Scene for exposing the truth, calling him the hero of the season. Others, however, questioned whether Brian and Parisa were unfairly painted as villains. Wasn't Bachelor in Paradise always a mix of love and strategy? Didn't past contestants also play games to secure screen time and roses? Still, the majority seemed to side with Scene's version of events. The idea that Brian and Parisa treated the experience like a game show rather than a chance for love struck a nerve with longtime fans who value authenticity in the franchise. Brian and Parisa's silence. Interestingly, both Brian Otts and Parisa Shifta have remained relatively quiet since their elimination. While other contestants have taken to Instagram to tell their side of the story, Brian and Parisa have only posted vague captions about staying true to yourself and the truth will come out. This silence has only fueled speculation. Are they saving their response for the reunion special? Or do they believe that denying the allegations will only make things worse? One thing is certain, the upcoming reunion episode promises fireworks, as Scene will likely confront them face-to-face about everything he revealed. What this means for the rest of the season. With Brian and Parisa gone, the remaining couples in Paradise feel a sense of relief but also unease. If two of the strongest personalities could be voted out so suddenly, what does that mean for everyone else? Scene, meanwhile, finds himself in an unfamiliar position, the reluctant leader of the group. His willingness to speak the truth has earned him respect, but it has also made him more visible in the drama than ever before. Will he be able to keep the peace as the season heads toward its explosive finale? Or will new cracks emerge among the surviving couples? The bigger picture. Scene's revelation isn't just about two contestants being eliminated. It's about the ongoing tension within Bachelor in Paradise itself. Is the show truly about finding love, or has it become a competition where strategy trumps sincerity? For years, Bachelor Nation has debated this question, and the Brian Parisa saga adds yet another chapter to that conversation. Some fans argue that strategic gameplay is inevitable, especially when producers encourage drama. Others maintain that contestants who openly manipulate others cross a line that undermines the spirit of the franchise. In the end, Scene's decision to expose the truth reflects a desire to preserve what little purity remains in a show built on both romance and chaos. Final thoughts. The shocking elimination of Brian Otts and Parisa Shifta will go down as one of the most memorable moments in Bachelor in Paradise history, and McLaughlin's candid confession about their manipulation ensures that their legacy will be debated long after the season ends. Whether you view Brian and Parisa as villains or misunderstood strategists, one thing is clear. Paradise is never just about roses and sunsets. It's about choices, consequences, and the courage to stand up for what you believe in. And in this case, it was McLaughlin who had the courage to pull back the curtain and change the course of the season forever.